Hello everyone, we're live on YouTube. Hello everyone, hi.
Hey
we
guys.
are taking your questions now. This is Scott Adkins. Say hi, Scott. There we go.
Hello.
He's trying to compete, that's the problem.
Oh, you've got the guns out.
I'll leave it.
Yours are actually looking quite good.
I have a home gym, so I'm not in bad shape, so it'll be all right. Thanks for coming on the show, Scott. Much appreciated.
Yeah, great to have you here.
Yeah, and if anyone doesn't know, me and Scott worked together last year on a feature film called Legacy of Lies, which is out later this year.
One thing I did watch was Amazon Prime Hunters. You see that?
Yeah, I've been watching that.
How good is it?
I've watched the first 2 episodes so far. I really like it.
Very good show.
Yeah.
My problem with TV shows is I get a bit bored. It's tough. It can't keep my attention for however many episodes. Normally, I find, like, even with Breaking Bad, which is the best TV show ever made, right? Most people would say.
Yeah,
even with that, it was 2 or 3 episodes that were a little bit like, it's dragging a little bit. That's how I felt anyway.
Gets a bit
so
slow.
This is my problem. I don't watch a lot of TV shows normally, but that one, every episode was top notch, I thought.
Kept you engrossed, right?
Kept me engrossed. Different things going on, but its tone was really interesting with, lots of comedy in there, quite violent at times and a little bit crazy, but also brilliant dramatic acting. Obviously Pacino and he's great, isn't he? What's his name again? The younger kid.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, wasn't he in War Force? Was he? Or
he was the one from Fury. He was in Fury. He was a child actor.
Yeah.
Oh right.
He's really good.
Yeah. What have you guys been watching?
I've been watching the same show. I've been watching that as well. I've got about 1 episode to go.
Good cinematography.
Yeah, I do. I like it. I think it's a bit too lit. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very, like, everyone's like very flat lighting at times. It's not very evocative lighting. Some scenes are nicer.
Do you reckon that's because of the speed of having to shoot it for TV?
Yeah, probably. It's probably that. I did find it weird, the show where it goes back and you don't, because it's based on a true story to some degree, but you don't know like how much of the flashbacks are real, and so you don't know. They're touching on something that's very sensitive. It's a Holocaust thing, It's pretty sensitive.
But I'm pretty sure that they were making a lot of that stuff up, even though some crazy, horrible stuff did happen. But probably not as bad as what they were depicting. But some of the shots in there, lighting sides, some of the camera work. I was thinking, what sort of a rig are they using for that? Because they would do like these weird Dutch angles and then rising up, and some great camera work. Yeah,
no, it's definitely good camera work in there. James, did you want to just make sure we're enabling people to comment on the video?
It says disabled. I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, if you can have a little look at that. That'll be good. There's always these things.
I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock from what happened.
Have a look here.
Okay. I don't know why we're not able to let you guys. No, it's enabled live chat. Yep, done all that. Okay. There we go. I don't know why people can't. Should be working.
But or maybe they can do some on Facebook, and we can just go from there if this doesn't work.
So I've been watching that show. Have you ever watched Narcos, Scott?
I don't watch a lot of TV shows for that reason.
Okay. Yeah.
Normally I'm obviously quite busy, and what I find is if I find something that I can watch with my wife that we both enjoy, we have different tastes. But occasionally we'll find something that we're both into. Witch Hunters was one of those, and Breaking Bad, and I don't know. We were watching something, a BBC show recently. The lady from First Night, Julia Ormond, that BBC show. What was that one again? That was really good. I'm terrible, my memory. Too many blows to the head, guys.
I think we've got live chat up now. The reason was because I said it was suitable for children, but I forgot we were interviewing Scott Adkins. So I was obviously didn't know what I was doing there.
Doing my best not to swear. It's not a Jesse Johnson film, so it'll be all right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Have you guys checked out the Tiger King series, or seen any of that?
Oh yeah, I've watched that. Yeah,
I watched one episode and I got my wife didn't really like it, so we haven't carried on watching it.
You've got to watch about 3 episodes for the craziness to really start going on, and
it just
then
keeps building, and you're like, what is going on? They're just all mad.
I just found it very, very discomforting with the whole tigers being cages, and it's quite distressing. You know,
the whole of it's uncomfortable. There's worse shit than that.
Yeah.
There's worse stuff than that.
I know.
Okay, there you go.
But look, let's get back down to movies, shall we? In terms of your movies, Scott. So, what are your favourite actors that you've most admired over the years? I mean, you've obviously mentioned Al Pacino and watching him in that Hunters show. But what is who are your most favourite actors that you've admired and almost wanted to be like over your career?
Yeah, well, there's 2 that I'd always go to as my favourite actors, the actors that I most respect. Although there's many, but Gary Oldman and Anthony Hopkins are the 2 actors that I enjoyed to watch the most on screen. The stuff that they do.
Yeah, Gary Oldman's wicked.
Yeah, I mean Gary, I love it when he goes. He's one of those actors that can really go big and over the top, but it's still always believable.
Yeah,
and always truthful, no matter how big he goes.
There's also not many white guys who can be Rastafarians as well. Drug lords. Yeah, and then also at the same time play Winston Churchill. I mean, that's pretty outstanding.
Yeah, he's amazing. And when he did Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, I mean, he really did the opposite of what he was known for doing, which was playing big. He played that very, very small and very. Specific, and I got to work with him on Criminal, and he's a great guy.
Yes,
really funny. And he'll mess about in between. In the rehearsals, he'll just mess about, like doing the lines in a different accent and pretending to be a different actor. And you start playing along with it and having a bit of fun with him, and then they say action, and he turns it on, and he's absolutely pitch perfect, brilliant, and you're left there thinking, oh shit. I better pay attention and try a bit harder because he's clearly a lot better than me.
Does that help you? Does it help you over your performance? Like when you're, acting opposite someone like Gary Oldman, it just elevates your performance. Do you think?
Well, you definitely don't want to go on the set not prepared and not ready to do your best. So it'll give you a bit of a kick up the arse in that respect. But it's important to be relaxed and. Easygoing on the set as well, not to give yourself too much pressure, which is why somebody like him will be messing about, joking and having a laugh in between takes, and then he turns it on when he needs to, but he's always relaxed, so that there's no pressure. One thing I had to learn, and it took me a while actually, was the more nervous you get, the more pressure you put on yourself, the worse you'll probably do. It's to find the right balance. You don't want to be too relaxed, I suppose. You want a little bit of an edge, but you don't want to take yourself out of the game with nerves either. I was quite shy when I was a kid, so it took me a while to get over that.
All right, and you do tend to joke around between takes, as far as I remember. So is that something you picked up?
That was the lesson I learned. Yeah, that was a lesson I learned.
Okay.
But back in the day, I would go into my shell when it came to do a bit of acting in front of a crew and professionals. I mean, even when I first started to train in acting and the stuff I did on stage. Well,
was it Doctors or Hollyoaks? I can't remember which. Did you do both?
This one was Doctors, yeah, Doctors.
Yeah,
that was my first ever
I did
acting
look.
job.
I did see which was the first credit.
I was in the very first episode of Doctors, and they put it on Sunday prime time at 6 p.m.
Well, that's the best slot it's ever had.
So, yeah, my episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
I peaked early.
Yeah, Doctor 6 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
On EastEnders from that.
Yeah, EastEnders. I mean, some of these you don't want to remember, but unfortunately for me, I had to learn on the job, make a few mistakes along the way.
But sometimes that's the best way, you know.
Oh, yeah. That's always been the way I've approached it, to be honest. I like to work and to keep working because I feel like, well, the more I do, the better I get. So let's just work.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I had the mentality of, you know, a cinematographer, I just want to do jobs when it's good money and it's a good script, or it's good actors, or it's good director. But you know what? You can't tick all 4 boxes all the time. So I'd rather, you know, it would tick 2 boxes or 3 boxes, and at least I do it, and then I learn from any mistakes, or I get to play with new kit, you know, or you just get to get more experience, like you said. I think that's a really good, good life lesson there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the way I approached it anyway. Probably the wrong way.
Well, you've done a lot of films.
You do get better. You do get better.
Yeah,
but then
I got a question here. What would you say are your favourite films, and how would you say they've inspired you when it comes to making your own films?
Favourite films. I mean, that's your favourite film is a film that you watch all the time, right?
Yeah.
Well, or growing up, or when you're growing up. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Because there's films that I really admire, and I look and I think, oh, that's a brilliant piece of cinema, and I really respect that. But I probably wouldn't call it my favourite film because I'm not going to watch it all the time.
Yeah.
But there is a film that I think is perfect in every way, and I watch it all the time. And I think the best film ever made is Jaws.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
Amazing in every way, in every department.
I think the shark broke down about 20 times. It didn't work for half of the film, or at least most of it.
Helped it.
Made it good because they didn't show it as much, did they?
Yeah.
But it is.
So
I mean,
with that theme tune to be the shark.
Yeah.
And the shark looks fake, so don't show it as much. Those barrels. Yeah. I mean, that's a brilliant. The way the barrels work in the story to show where he is and is he coming and are they attached and all the rest of it. I don't think they would have had that if the shark was working.
No. And that ending when they're on the boat, those 3, that's like 50 minutes or something, isn't it? That end, but it's just so engrossing, that last third of the part of the movie, and the whole film is. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a masterpiece.
Story-wise, acting-wise, directing-wise, it's perfect.
It's definitely Steven Spielberg's best work.
Second film.
Yeah, second film. It's filmed, and they had huge lights on the boats in the water.
Come on.
Yeah.
Man.
So we've got some questions here, which actually I was gonna touch on. So when all this coronavirus kicked off, what were you doing, Scott? You were filming Castle Falls, is that right?
Yeah, I was in Alabama with Dolph
Alabama.
Lundgren. Alabama. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I could be able to get back home. I mean, you know, I'm out there and it's all kicking off, and it was kicking off before I went out there. But you know, you're contracted to do the movie.
Yeah.
So you need to go and do it. And we started filming, and I'm thinking, I don't see how we're going to get through this. You know, everywhere's shutting down. Alabama at the time was there was only a few cases in that state, and in America, each state sort of dictates what they're going to do on their own.
Oh, really?
So we were hoping that maybe we could get through, and Alabama wouldn't be as affected. But one day in, and we were shut down.
But the thing is. Really, one day. Okay. I was going to say, how far were you into filming?
No, not much.
And I saw you were out there with the man himself. Am I right?
The Tim Man.
The Tim Man, yeah. Not the Tin Man, the Tim Man. Yeah.
Not the Tin Man.
Who is the Tim Man, for everyone who doesn't know?
The Tim Man is a man that will give you the best fight sequences that you could possibly imagine if you can keep up with his choreography. But But no, he's a great fight director, isn't he? He's
yes,
one of the best in the business.
Were you
And
getting lots
himself
of
is
rehearsals?
one of the best kickers you've ever seen.
It's true.
Amazing.
His kick is as high as his height, which is about 4 foot.
Higher, much higher.
Much higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much rehearsal were you getting for your fight sequences? Because I know on the film we did, Legacy of Lies, you didn't get very long. But how was it going for the rehearsals?
Well, I had about a week to rehearse the fights, some of them. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, we haven't got to film them yet.
No, okay, yeah. So you'll have to re-rehearse, I guess.
That'll be the first thing I do as soon as this whole thing is over, and God knows when it's going to be. But I'll be back over to Alabama to, not finish it, but start it, really. I only did one day. What about you guys? What were you up to?
I was just at home. Nothing happened. I just stayed here and I haven't moved, really. James, what are you doing?
And I was just doing some writing mainly, so already at home, so it didn't really affect me work-wise. Just later on down the line, it's going to affect it, right? When you're waiting for things to pick back up. Which
at least you've got something.
Next year.
Yeah, mate, you've got something to go back to, Scott. So that's great, and I'm sure the fans will be happy to hear.
Well, I've got loads of stuff lined up to do. I mean, Accident Man is basically on hold for this. Accident Man 2, and many other projects that I've been talking to people about. And I'd love to be writing like you are, James, to be honest. I've got some things I want to get down, but my kids, they're all over me.
Minimal time, right? You get in the evening if you're lucky, or half an hour.
Yeah, in the evening, yeah. But I need to be watching Tiger King then. What are you talking about?
So we've got some other questions. I think you covered this in your recent your own YouTube or whatever it was that you do, like web chat thing. I think you covered it. But what are your top 5 films that you're most proud to have worked on, and why? And what were the most fun?
My top 5 films that I did.
Yeah, you do. It could be top 3. I mean, if you can't remember all.
I did a little YouTube thing about this. Which
I know.
Go to my YouTube channel, have a look at what I think are my favourite films that I did, that are my movies, not films that I've had a supporting role in.
Of course,
like
right.
Doctor Strange or Expendables. Which, But so for me it was Ninja 2, Universal Soldier, Day of Reckoning, Accident Man, which was very dear to my heart because I produced, wrote and starred in that. And what was number 2 was, I just wanted to put the one Boyka film down. I mean, you could probably put all 3 Boyka films in the top 5, but I thought that wouldn't be fair on my other films, which wanted to give some space. So I put down Undisputed 3 as the second one, and then number 1, Avengement, which is one of my most recent films.
Oh, that's a great film. Well, I had some questions about Avengement, actually. Let me just see if I can find them. Because, a lot of people saying how impressed they were with the fight choreography for that film.
The thing is, you never know what a film's going to turn out like, really. I mean, it's all about having 20/20 vision and being able to put onto the screen what you imagine. But, most of the time, as you know, you've got what you want to do, and then you have what you've actually done. And when it's all edited together, only then can you see the movie for what it actually is. And sometimes it's really not what you thought it was going to be. So you never really know. And I say this because Avengement, although we all worked really hard on it, and I worked especially hard on it in all areas, but there was a part of me that kind of saw it as a bit of an experiment in a way. And I wasn't really sure if it was going to work. But I was happy to try something different and be a bit bold. But to be honest,
the character and stuff.
Well, it's all me in a pub mostly, isn't it? Talking to these guys, I'm holding them hostage. It was like it felt like we were filming a piece of theatre. So to make a movie in that way was new, different for me. And we're doing it, and there's a lot of talking. I'm the guy that's known for the B-movie action films. I'm not that confident. There has to be that time where you're thinking to yourself, are people actually going to be enjoying this? Just me talking. Is this going to work? You know what I mean, though?
It's done incredibly well. So congratulations.
Yeah.
It's won. It's been nominated and won a few awards, and it's been in lots of magazine articles, newspaper articles, and every time I turn on Netflix, like it keeps coming up on my thing. I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. Thanks. Yeah, it's like
leave me alone. Adkins.
Leave me alone. I've seen it. It's definitely one of your.
Because I did have the confidence that I could do it, but then when you're doing it, there are times when you think to yourself, "Oh, have we made the right decision?" Do you know what I mean? I wasn't so sure that it was going to work, but so that it did work was really, it was great, fantastic. When I first cut, it was like, oh, this really works, man.
Yeah. How long did it take, like, for example, the big pub fight at the end? How long did you shoot that for and rehearse it for? Or was it quite quick because it's an indie film?
Well, it was quick, but there's quick and then there's too quick. So I think it was 2 days. It was either 2 days or 2.5 days. And I said to everyone at the beginning, I said, look, this has got to be a show-stopping end sequence because everything is building towards this big pub brawl at the end. And that's what got me excited about the film from the get-go, was the pitch that this guy's holding up a pub full of gangsters and he's going to have a big showdown at the end. So I wanted it to be a really good show-stopping end fight. But at one point the producer said, because we're running out of money and there was something else that we needed to film that hadn't been filmed, he said, we're going to have to take half a day away from this pub. And I don't mind telling you, I went ballistic. I went into I turned into Kane Burgess for real. I mean, I was existing as that guy anyway. And
I've never met that part of you, Scott.
Yeah, you've seen it too. But you know what I'm like when it comes to doing the action.
It's something that you hold dear to your heart and you're passionate about it, and so you can understand.
And it makes a difference on screen. You need the extra time, but still 2 days, 2.5 days is impressive. So much you got done in such little time.
So I wasn't going to have them take any more away, and it was the right decision because it does build to that end fight, and we've been nominated for a Taurus Stunt Award for Best Fight, and that is so unusual for a film that is that budget and made on that schedule to be nominated alongside movies, $150 million movies. And I don't even want to tell you what the price of our film was. But, it just goes to show. So I don't mind that I chewed a few people out and had a go at some people because it needed to be done.
Did you get much rehearsal time for that? Or did everyone have to just do it in those 2.5 days?
So Dan Stiles did a great job working with most of the stunt guys that were in the end sequence.
Prior to the film.
Choreographing it and filming it. And not really filming it how we were going to film it in the movie, but sort of just to document it. And this is what we're going to do. And then I had Luc Lafontaine come and help us, so we all mucked in. But Dan did the majority of the end fight, I have to say. But then it's a case of we know the choreography, and I rehearsed it a couple of times, maybe once or twice. But then we worked with two, and I was saying, okay, put the camera there, have a camera there. And I like to have two cameras for a fight because I'm normally going to play it for the one angle. But then you've got the second angle, just in case you need to cut something out to clean something up or tighten something up. It's a little bit of a safety net. But also I know in my head that I can make this hit work for that camera. And then we're moving on to this part of the choreography, and I can make that bit work for this camera and then go back to that one. Because we don't have the time.
No, and you need that. I know when we worked together, I was like, definitely two cameras, and I've always had two cameras whenever I do fight scenes as well on films I've worked on. And you're right, you need that second camera just to get either like a close up of a certain moment, or just to go into that next movement, the next movement, isn't it? Just to cut into something else.
In a perfect world, I would have enough time to be able to say, okay, this is the shot, this is the angle, this is what I want, and we're going to do it until we get it. And I wouldn't be concerned about the second camera then, because we'd have enough time to keep doing it until it's correct. And say, okay, we're going to move on to this part of the fight now. We're going to film it like this. But when it's a tight sort of schedule, you need that safety net. but also think it works for that type of film as well, which is a bit rough and ready.
Yeah, I was going to ask, in terms of the
Even the
martial arts
gritty
side, are you? I think one of the questions we had was, are you looking at moving away from, obviously, like the style in cinema has changed, like since the 80s and 90s and now, and it's obviously less kind of martial arts, as it were. It's more kind of military fighting, you know. Like if you look at, I guess Daredevil, things like that, or Captain America. You know, the style in those types of films, and Batman as well. Are you kind of moving more into that kind of realm? I mean, that Avengement was very much kind of brawling, but are you trying to, you're trying to follow that kind of path as well?
I believe you should only make films you should make films for yourself. I don't think you should try and predict what people want to see, because that's a dodgy road to go down, because you can easily fail that way. Now, you're right, you might have really bad taste, and if you're making a film for your own taste and no one else likes it, then you're screwed, right? Yeah. So if that's the case, maybe don't bother.
I think Lars von Trier does that quite a lot, but that's
well,
there you go.
Still
there's probably always someone out there that likes it, but are you going to appeal to the masses? Now, James Cameron, he always appeals to the masses, doesn't he? He always manages to create a story that everybody wants to see for various reasons. But for me, I have my own personal tastes, and I just think the films that I actively develop for myself, they are my own taste, and I hope that other people come along for the ride and enjoy them, but I've got no power over that. But I don't want to try and predict what they want to see, because I probably don't know anyway. So I think you should make films for yourself, and hopefully people are going to enjoy them. So, I know what I like. I mean, I like a lot of different things, to be honest, and I want to try different genres of film. And as far as the fighting goes, the truth is I'm getting older, so I can't do some of the stuff that I used to do. And that's just the reality of getting older. I mean, I'm still good for my age, don't get me wrong, but I'm not the 25-year-old anymore. So that real sort of clean martial arts technique.
Triple backflips aren't working anymore.
Yeah, that's not on the menu anymore, is it?
Yeah. But you know what?
You don't need it.
I think there's a lot of, I mean, Liam Neeson's a prime example. Like, I'm not saying you're as old as him, but like, I'm just saying you've got actors out there they're getting like better roles as they get older. I don't know about females, but males particularly, they get really great roles. Yeah,
because you can sometimes play on your actual history, of your back catalogue of films, and a bit like Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven, where it's playing to all of his old Western films, wasn't it? And you don't want to mess with him, and then when you did, it all exploded in that last 10 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I like to see a good fight in a movie, and it doesn't have to be crazy high-flying kicks. It can be, for sure. But you can just, have a couple of hooks and some straight punches and a front kick and still make a great fight scene. It's all about the story at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Are you invested? I mean, I've made a lot of films where it wasn't about the story and it was just about the fighting. But now I'm obviously more interested in making good stories, making good films. And yeah, I'm going to put action in there. I'm not going to start trying to do things without action, because I understand what people want to see from me, and I love the genre. But, I definitely want to tell more engaging, character-driven stories, so that when the fight does happen, you're really into it. You don't need all that fancy stuff.
I was going to ask, I think me and James both wanted to know, are you pushing more towards the drama and the narrative kind of characterization on your films than and that sort of acting side more so now than before? Just mainly because, like you said, it's those reasons really, and maybe minimise the fight scenes a little bit, but they're not taking up 90% of the film. They happen, if and when, to aid the film rather than being about the film.
For me, I would love it if you've got a great story with a great character, and the fights just add to that. And I love a good fight or action sequence, gunplay, whatever. but I love action so much that I'm probably not going to do less unless you have to for the story.
Yeah.
But I want it to all be equal and all complement itself and all work together.
Yeah.
With something like Avengement, it really did.
Yeah.
I mean, Debt Collector as well. Something like that was very realistic setting.
Yes.
You know, you get behind, the characters were real. It was a little bit elevated, but you know, the action was according to the realism of the story. But then it's nice to do something that's a little bit genre, and the idea might be interesting to you. I mean, I did a comedy recently because I wanted to do a comedy, or maybe somebody comes with a high concept idea. They think, oh yeah, that's really cool. I'd like to see that, and maybe you do it for those reasons.
Was that the space one? Was it
the Intergalactic Adventures of Max?
Yeah.
Cloud.
Was that the one?
Yeah, that's comedy. I say that, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's funny.
You just think you're funny.
Hopefully it is.
Okay.
Hopefully it is.
Yeah, I know some of the camera crew on that.
Give my films a hard time. Tell me it's funny. Tell me it works.
Got a question here. This is Ronan. He's asking, what would you suggest to inspiring martial arts actors? What type of martial arts to train in and acting schools, auditions they could look to for examples?
Well, yeah, look, it's all changed, hasn't it, these days? When I was a kid, there was a lot of actors out there that had a big physical presence and weren't necessarily the greatest actors, but they were getting away with it because, you know, they were brilliant physically for whatever reason. Things have changed now. You've got to be an actor first and foremost.
Yeah.
No, so...
And also these days, they can CGI a lot. You can get away with stunt doubles, body doubles with CGI'd faces on and everything. You know, you don't have to necessarily... I mean, a lot of actors do train quite hard, don't they? You know, on a lot of big films, they do a lot of training.
Now, especially.
Yeah. All the Marvel films and all those kind of things, you know. Not to the level of Jackie Chan.
But for me, the Marvel movies... The Marvel movies, you can always put the mask on. So most of the time, it is a stuntman. Unluckily for Benedict Cumberbatch in Doctor Strange, he didn't have a mask, so he had to do quite a bit himself. But for the most part, that's the case. But then, yeah, you've certainly got actors like, obviously Tom Cruise really goes for it, and Keanu Reeves certainly puts the effort in on the John Wick films. And Halle Berry did a great job in John Wick 3. Yeah. Charlize Theron in Atomic Blonde. You can see when they
that fight scene was amazing.
In his new film Extraction, I'm pretty sure that's going to be good.
Was that the Chris Hemsworth one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would have put a lot of work into that.
And that's the same. Is that the same director who did Atomic Blonde? Is it?
He worked on Atomic Blonde. Oh. He's not the director was David Leitch, who did Hobbs and Shaw. But Sam Hargrave was, I don't know, he was like second unit director or something on Atomic Blonde. Yeah,
because there's the guy or director who did that. He then did Deadpool, I think, or something like that. But I don't know if
that's David.
Also, it was the guy who did Atomic Blonde.
Got you. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, when I see actors put the work in on the action, I always, got a lot of respect for that because I know how difficult it is. It's hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a question here from Sean Malloy. He said, you've become sort of, you've been working with Isaac Florentine and Jesse Johnson, is working alongside directors who you're familiar with. Does that make for a better experience? And I'd probably add to that and say, are you just more comfortable with working with directors you really worked with? Or is it just because they keep approaching you? Or like, how does that work?
I think I'm more comfortable working with the director again if I've had a good experience. Yeah. Because you know what it's like. It's a new job. You're trying to figure out what the other guy's like. Do you gel? Are you going to get on? Are you going to have arguments? Are you going to see the film in the same way? Yeah. So if you've worked with someone and had a good experience with them, and you get the opportunity to do it again, I always jump at it. Because I know that most probably, hopefully, we're going to end up with a good film because of it. So certainly with Isaac and Jesse, they're two directors that I've worked with a hell of a lot. But also they listen to me as well. they'll let me have input, which is very important to me.
Yeah, it's like a team effort. Like you're all working
It's
together.
collaboration. It always is. There's no ego. It's like we just got to make a good film. Let's if you think I'm doing something wrong, tell me. Let's discuss it. And if I think you could do something better, I'm going to tell you. And we're gonna have a chat about it. And it's all going to be for the good of the film. No ego rubbish. Just
that's the thing I noticed about you, Scott, on set was you're passionate about movie making, like from beginning to end. Like just like Tom Cruise is. He's a producer. He doesn't direct, but he produces. He's passionate. He lives and breathes it. And I got that off you. And in terms of you just want to be filming all the time, and all your comments or suggestions are always just to make the film better. And I can completely relate to that myself.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Yeah,
definitely.
I love it. I love it. See the same thing in you, mate. I mean, I've never seen a DP work as hard as you did. You were your own
not much
grip.
Time.
Not much time. Not enough help.
No, yeah. Well, I had a lot of hands in the Ukraine, shooting in the Ukraine. We had a lot more help than in the UK on previous shoots, but it was still a tight window to shoot in. That's for sure.
You did a great job, mate. I've got to say, honestly. I've seen the film and it looks brilliant.
No, we can't wait for you all to see the trailer. That should have been probably out by now, but unfortunately, I think the distributors want to wait a little bit, and then we'll see. Hopefully soon.
It's no good releasing the trailer now and then being in lockdown for another 6 months.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like people will just be sitting their asses waiting to want to see it. They want to get some hype and then release it. Within a week or two, wouldn't they? So yeah. So James, have you got any more questions lined up?
Yeah. We've got one here. So you're a producer as well as an actor. How does that affect the way you approach a film? What does it change regarding your approach? You've gone over a few bits already, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a producer. There's many jobs that a producer has to do that are, I couldn't deal with it in terms of talking to the bank and finding money and all the rest of it and all that sort of thing. But I'm a producer out of necessity. All it is I'm trying to find projects that get me excited and that I'd like to do. So if I come across a script or if I have an idea that I have written into a script, I can get it made and see that film come to fruition because it's something that I'd like to see. It's being a master of your own destiny, isn't it?
Yeah.
And not being beholden to, have you got an audition for me? And hopefully I get the part and all the rest of it.
And you just have to go along with it. At least you have more control, right? So like, look, I'm a producer, or at least I'm credited for this sort of part. I want to have more of a say, just because, like we said earlier, you're passionate about it and you want to see it do well, and you don't want to see people fuck it up, basically. and lead it in the right direction.
And you need a bit of control. And I've got to be honest, the films that I've had more control in have been my best films for the most part. The films that I'm the star in. So once you've done that a couple of times and it's turned out good, you don't want to do it any other way.
So leading on to that, another question which leads on from that is, how do you personally go about finding new projects? Do you come up with the concepts yourself and then pass them on to writers and producers, or do you like to have scripts and concepts from less established writers and filmmakers sent to you?
It's whatever, yeah. I mean, I'm dealing with both those situations at the moment. I've had an idea for a movie which is being written by a good writer, so we're working on that. And then there's something that I was sent that I really like. It was an existing script concept, and we're trying to get that made. But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of ideas in my head that I really need to just put down on.
Get out.
I mean, I don't like writing. I don't enjoy writing very much, to be honest. I prefer to work with a writer that's much better than me, and together he can do the lion's share of the work, but together we can craft something that's come from in my brain, my twisted head. Like Accident Man or some of these other
But
things.
it's like, I understand. It's like you can get across the scene in general what you want to happen at particular points, and then go, right, make that happen.
Yeah, I know what I want. I mean,
Yeah.
You said I do think more like a filmmaker than an actor, I believe, which goes with what you said, Simon.
Yeah.
So I know what I want to see,
Yeah.
but like my mate Stu, who does a lot of the writing with me, he's great at dialogue. He writes dialogue that I can't come up with. I'm just not that witty, but he writes great dialogue. So we'll shape the story together, and I've got a lot of ideas, but he's really going to come up with the lion's share of the dialogue.
Yeah,
nice. We've got a few people asking about Hitman 4. So obviously that came out end of last year. How was that experience working with Donnie Yen and yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it's hard work doing those films in China. It's a different way of doing it. Yeah,
okay.
It's tough. It's tough. Very rewarding when you see the final product.
So was it a full Chinese production and crew and a director, or was it? Or
yeah, the director didn't speak that much English.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't as such a Hollywood production, but obviously it was marketed more in that vein.
I mean, it's set in America, but we didn't shoot it in America. Most of it was shot in Shanghai, and then they actually shot in England, in
Manchester, Liverpool, right?
Yeah, Bolton and places like that. They went to this army place up north, wherever it was. But that summer, 2 years ago, it was so hot that it scorched the grass yellow. So it actually looks like California, so they got away with it well.
Great.
It was meant to be in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Chinese production. But Donnie Yen was... I've worked with everyone, and Donnie Yen was the last one on the list, to be honest.
On the bucket list.
Yeah.
Great. So in terms of, like, I know we've spoken about it before, and someone did ask about studying martial arts. But when you were starting out, when you did doctors and things like that, were you really training doing martial arts, or was it something you picked up as a hobby and then you brought into it? How did this whole kind of thing escalate into what it became, as it were?
Started martial arts when I was 10, judo, and never stopped.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I remember growing up loving Bruce Lee, staying up to watch Bruce Lee late at night, Enter the Dragon, thinking, oh, this guy's amazing. And then eventually Jackie Chan films came out, but before that there were all these sort of like independent martial arts B movies back in the day. I used to love them as a kid. Yeah, like No Retreat, No Surrender and China O'Brien and all this. I used to lap it up as a kid. Used to love it. But just loved martial arts and was a big fan of Stallone and Schwarzenegger, as most lads my age were back then. But yeah, the martial arts came first, but a real, true and honest love of filmmaking, just films in general. I love action films, but I love all films. All types of films.
Did you start learning like other martial arts, or did you just get taught it from like job to job, as it were?
No, I mean, I started judo at 10, and then I went to this ninja club for a little bit when I was a kid, and then I did taekwondo, and I did that for a long time.
I was going to say
Yeah, many different styles of martial arts.
Because you've done a lot of backflips and all these other kind of things, and obviously judo is more of a grounded kind of sport. But like, is that not grounded? Yeah, but I can see how doing those other things would interplay into this.
Yeah, no, it started with traditional martial arts. I mean, you get these kids that do what's called tricking, martial arts tricking. Yeah. Which is great and it's amazing, and some of the stuff the kids do now, I can't even believe how they do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I look at that and they're missing the base of real martial arts and real technique.
Well, you don't fight someone tricking either. You kind of it's not really.
No, of course not. But sometimes it's just nice to see a clean sidekick.
Yeah. Yeah.
A beautiful, clean sidekick executed well, with proper form. But yeah, obviously the gymnastics that I do is separate to the martial arts, but I was training in it knowing that I wanted to be like a Jackie Chan and, a Hong Kong movie guys I was watching at the time. When I started gymnastics, which wasn't until I was 18, I already knew that I wanted to get into the movie business, and that being able to do backflips and stuff was going to help me do that.
You didn't do that on Doctors. That's why you ended up in the casualty ward or something.
I did, but they cut it out. They said, "Why are you doing that?" That's not the line, Adkins. Don't do a backflip. Just say the line.
Don't karate chop the other actor. That's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Austin Powers style.
Yeah. It was all going down at Pebble back then.
Yeah. So we had someone ask, would you ever consider directing? Obviously, you mentioned doing some kind of writing, but would you consider directing? I mean, we talked about you wanting to, you're a general filmmaker, but would you consider directing? Is it something that you'd want to go into one day?
Yeah, I'd like to do it. Yeah, I'd like to do it. I keep putting it off because I guess I've got to be in it, right? If I'm going to get the money to direct something, probably the way I'm going to get money to do it is if I'm in it.
Yeah, there are a few films with actors, directors. Stallone's done it. Other actors have done it.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
Here's the thing. You've seen how hard I work with the action and how tiring it is.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to get the money for it if it's an action film, let's be honest. So if I'm directing myself and doing all that action, I don't know if I can do it. I'd be so tired.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
That's the problem right there. So I think I need to find something which allows me to sort of play a supporting role. Because maybe I could direct something that I'm starring in and I'm in every scene, but the first time I do it, if I do it, I'd like to go a bit easier on myself for the first one, to be honest, give myself a fighting chance. So I think I need to find something where I can be a supporting part.
You just need an experienced DOP, cinematographer, who can help you choose the right angles. Yeah.
What about TV shows, right? A couple of episodes on a big TV show. Could be an option,
a big TV show. Yeah. Well, so if anyone's watching and you've got a big TV show, I'm going to direct it. All right.
But just 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Only two.
Yeah. So, someone mentioned Second Unit, and that's not a bad shout. I mean, you look at the guy, the Second Unit director who went on to shoot Atomic Blonde or Deadpool or whichever way around it was. But people like good DPs or good directors can do Second Unit and then move up. It's certainly a good way of doing it.
Yeah, but they normally come from the stunt world, the second unit directors a lot of the time, because they're arranging all these stunts like a Bond movie. A lot of that was second unit. Old Vic Armstrong, he became a second unit director because he was the best stuntman in town and the best stunt coordinator, and then he started to direct his own sequences that he was devising anyway. To go into second unit directing from being an actor, I don't know how many people have done that. But maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely thinking about it a lot. I need to get on with it, to be honest.
Well, I think you just need that right script, don't you? And something that you're like you had with Accident Man, you're quite personally attached with it. It's something that you really wanted to bring out and onto the screen. Yeah. You just need that project.
Or
direct something without action. But
might be easier.
Who wants to see that? I do.
Got another question here. Someone said it. You said a couple of times you've basically worked with a lot of your action heroes. Is there any B-movie stars or action stars you would like to work with that you haven't done so?
I think I've worked with all the action guys that I want to work with, to be honest. Brilliant. If I'm missing somebody out, I'm sorry. There's a lot of actors that I'd love to work with, of course. I mean, too many to mention.
Yeah.
Some great actors, some great directors that I'd love to work with. But as far as action guys go, I think pretty much done the lot. I mean, The Expendables, that checked a lot of boxes.
that was quite a lot of boxes. Yeah.
Yeah, so many just in one movie. Great.
Yeah, done.
Were you? I can't remember. Were you in a lot of the scenes with like a lot of them, or was it mainly Jason Statham?
There's the first time you see me and Van Damme. We come out of it's with the whole of the Expendables team, so we're acting opposite all of them. And then I was mostly with Van Damme, and then I have a fight with Statham at the end. Yeah. The only guy I didn't meet, and I kicked myself for this, but it was Chuck Norris, because he was only there for one day.
Oh,
I thought, he's going to be busy, and everyone's going to want to meet him. Mate, I won't go down. I'm not in the scene anyway. I don't want to bother him. I'll see him at the premiere, I thought, or something like that. But he wasn't. I didn't get to go to the US premiere. I only went to the London one, and he wasn't there. So I've not met Chuck Norris yet. But I am in a film with him.
Yeah, that's good enough.
It's close.
That's good enough. Yeah.
Another question here. How does the choreography and planning differ between a smaller indie film and working on a big Hollywood production?
The choreography
for
and
you,
planning?
fighter. Yeah. I guess it's time, isn't it? How much time you guys get.
I mean, that's why I love working with Tim, because we do have the constraints of time and money, and Tim will get a lot of it done on his own time, and he's got favours he can pull in. By the time we get to the set, he's probably devised all the fights and shot some previous stuff with his friends back in Sweden. It just makes it a lot easier for me. He's very organised in that way, so that's why I like to work with Tim a lot.
He previses pretty much everything, doesn't he? And he doesn't even look at his phone on the day. He's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I've done 2 films with him myself. One with you, and one was I Am Vengeance 2 Retaliation. And that was, it would just come out of his head. And I'm like, how do you know what the next shot is, or the next angle and everything? He just knows it. He learns it. Yeah. He's going through it in his head. Just sit in a corner and like Rain Man.
Yeah, he's very good, and it takes pressure off me as well, because there are some films where I haven't got somebody like him, and it's that added pressure of having to do it yourself. Because there is always, of course, expectation for my action to be good, regardless of what the film's even about. If there's an action sequence, it's got to be good. I mean, I have to make sure it's good.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, I guess my sort of the way I've always done things from the beginning is I'm always trying to find a better story and make a better film. But the one thing that I've always known that I'm really good at and can do is the action. So I've always made sure that that's always been top notch and working. Back in the day when maybe the story was a bit flimsy, as long as you get the action right, you've got that. So, you're good. But I still carry that on now. It's like, well, I've got to make sure the action's good. Even if it's only a little part of the movie. Yeah. Got to make sure the action's good.
Is there, in terms of like the characters, do you do much? Someone asking about research for roles. It just got me thinking. Do you do much research if it's like based on a real character, or do you do much development or like coaching, dialect coaching, or anything like that? Like how much do you prep, like in terms of the acting stuff?
If it's a real character, you'd have to do the research. I don't think I've played a real character. I kind of did. Well, no, I didn't.
Someone mentioned Zero Dark 30, but I don't know if your character was real or not. But they might have just been
an amalgamation of a few characters. But obviously, the subject matter, and especially that event, was researched thoroughly, so I understood exactly what's going on.
And I guess with Zero Dark 30, it'd be about the technicality of how soldiers would be like doing the siege of the building and stuff, isn't it? That side of things.
Here's the interesting thing about Zero Dark 30 for me, is that I auditioned for it. I didn't hear anything about it. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call off my agent saying, okay, they've given you a part in Zero Dark 30. I didn't know what the script was, hadn't seen it. I auditioned with something from the Hurt Locker. And they said, they need you there on Thursday. Get on a plane. What's the part? It's this. Have you got a script? No. All right, I'll do it. She just won the Oscar, you're going to do it. And so I get there, and I get costume fitting, and like, has anyone got a script? So we're going to give you the script, don't worry, but it's being written. Like, what? Bloody hell. It's an American accent, right? So I've got to do the American accent. So I want to get the lines so that I know I'm going to be able to say the lines correctly in the American accent. And I haven't been working on my American accent for a bit because this whole thing's out of the blue, you know. And so it goes on, and then eventually I'm there, and I know that I'm working that day, and I'm in the green room with the other actors. I'm like, where's the bloody scene? Has anyone got the scene? I need the scene. Somebody give me the script. And eventually they bring out like 3 pages. They say, right, here's the scene, and we're going to do it in 30 minutes. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm here working with Catherine Bigelow. Her last movie, she won the Oscar. And you're giving me the scene, which is an American accent, 30 minutes before I'm going to go and act it. I need to learn my lines. What the fuck? I couldn't believe it. I was shitting myself. I've got to be honest. And Jennifer Ale, the girl that I did the scene with, you know, she wasn't happy about it either. But then they said, well, it was the same on Hurt Locker, and you know, we got the Oscar for that. So maybe there's a method in the madness. I don't know. But anyway, it was, for me, it was a nerve-wracking experience, put it that way.
Yeah,
she did Point Break, didn't she? Was she the director of Point Break?
Catherine Bigelow, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Great director. Great
Really,
director.
yeah.
I remember she comes over to me to quickly talk about the scene, and she's like, "Oh, you're English." Yeah. She said, "Oh, can you do an American accent?" It's like, well, that's what I did in the audition that you gave me the part for. It's like, oh, okay. So it was one of those ones. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Baptism by fire.
I don't envy you giving
that. Once you've gone through that, I don't tend to go on sets nervous anymore, because I think that just burnt it out of me.
That's quite big, isn't it? That's quite high up there.
Yeah. But back to what you said in terms of doing research and everything, or my approach, I just think, you know, you need to understand that the character that you're playing on a very deep level, so it holds a lot of resonance for you. So you're not just saying lines, but you know, it's deeply within you. You need to try and get it to that place. So it helps to write a backstory and to understand, you know, every moment that got you to this position, and certain triggers, certain lines that might be said to you by another actor that have a deep resonance to you that the audience isn't even going to realize. But if you've done the work in the background to make things really mean something to you, that's really what you want to aim for.
Yeah. I reckon we've got time for one more little question, Simon.
Yeah, someone was asking, can we hear a little Boyka? I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Little Boyka. I'm not little Boyka. Fuck you.
Okay, I guess that's a little Boyka.
So we're not. This video is not for kids anymore.
No, I don't think it is. No.
Simon dealt with that earlier on.
Complete fighter in the world.
I think you've got a lot of Boyka fans out there, and they do seem to love those films, and I can't blame them. James, with us, one last question, maybe a couple more. What was? I know that we're all in isolation, we're all in lockdown, we're all not leaving the house. Are there any tips? I think a lot of people are going stir crazy. Are there any tips that you recommend people doing to keep fit? Is there anything that you've been doing in terms of, you know, martial arts or fitness or something like that?
Doing some handstands.
Handstands.
I've been doing some handstands in the garden. Listen, I'm very lucky. I've got a little gym in my garage. So I've got the padded floor, I've got some weights, pull-up bar. You know, you've probably seen that in the videos. So I'm in a very lucky position to be locked down in terms of training. But, you know, there's so much stuff on YouTube now. I mean, you just have to browse through and find someone you like and follow their routine. The most important thing is not what you're doing and how you're doing it, but just that you're doing it. Yeah. You just got to have enough motivation to think, right, today, I'm going out, like, if I go in the car to take something to my mom's or something like that, to drop them off something, I am lock it down. But sometimes you got to look after the parents. But when I'm out, you just see this. I've never seen so many joggers in my life.
No, I keep getting like almost pushed.
Going nuts.
I can keep getting pushed in the canal. Like I'm just walking along, and then people are like running past me or cycling past me, and I'm like, it's like the M25.
I'm going to outrun this COVID. Well, I suppose everyone's trying to get their lungs into good shape, aren't they?
I guess, but they're still breathing heavily as they walk past me or run past
inhaling,
me.
Inhaling virus, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great, but yeah.
Just make sure that you do it, and you don't have to go out running.
Absolutely.
Press ups, squat. It's all on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's most people are now realising that they can do a lot more from home than they thought they could, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what film would us three make then? James, what would you want to make with Scott? What's on the cards?
Well, I guess we'll have some action in there.
Yeah.
And we'll add in a bit of a sci-fi angle, I reckon.
Oh, you reckon,
what?
Yeah?
Do you think maybe the follow-up to Predator Dark Ages, the feature film? The one that I might have happened to have sent Scott.
I'll tell you what, I've always wanted to do a medieval film and haven't done that yet.
Oh,
yeah.
Better of Armour's a right.
Didn't I send you the script of that?
It's so comfortable.
I think I sent you the treatment or something. Yeah, maybe. Set in Malta.
Oh, for the feature.
Yeah, the feature.
Yes. No, I remember now.
Yeah.
Something like that then. Well,
something like that.
Then. That's the one then.
We'll make it happen.
There you go.
Yeah, we can dream that maybe. Yeah, one day we get out of isolation and can make that. But yeah, so.
You know what film I used to love when I was younger, loved it dearly, was Excalibur. You remember Excalibur?
Oh,
yeah.
What a film that is.
Yeah, and the armour was so sort of over the top and big. It was great and shiny. Yeah.
Merlin in that. Anal natrak attantiere.
There you go. Actually,
Sorry,
they've done so much for Merlin and Arthur.
But that's a great film, Excalibur. Anyone that wants to watch a great medieval fantasy type film, Excalibur, brilliant stuff.
Yeah, good call.
I think those and was it 13th Warrior was a bit crazy, but it was all right. It's not really medieval.
It's all right, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hit and miss that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and James talk a lot about these types of films, but then that's because we're trying to reference them all the time.
Medieval. What do you think?
What's that?
Another great medieval type film.
Oh, I mean, okay, plot-wise, but...
I saw the Three Musketeers the other day.
Oh, yeah, Braveheart's brilliant. What was that, Simon?
The Three Musketeers, the one with Charlie Sheen, the 93 version with the same director who did Mighty Ducks. We've been watching it on the Disney Channel. And it's a funny film. It's a good film. Tim Curry is the bad guy. I mean, he's just brilliant. It's got lots of action in it.
Explore that more, for some reason.
You're sorry? The one in the 70s.
The one with Oliver Reed.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
A couple of those, right? Two or three.
That's very good. Yeah.
And Christopher Lee was the bad guy, wasn't he? I think on one of them.
Maybe. Yeah.
Don't that well, but I remember them more than the Charlie Sheen one for some reason. I remember the song from the Charlie Sheen one.
Yeah.
Sting did it with Bryan Adams, right?
Yeah. I can't remember, but the Kevin Costner Robin Hood was very good. I mean, I don't know if you could class that, but that's
a great film. Yeah, really good film, brilliant film.
Yeah, I'm hoping that if we go into such a sort of lockdown isolation, that we all sort of end up, and then the Antarctica still melts. And then we're all in water, and then basically it becomes Waterworld, and then we all get webbed toes. That's what I'm hoping for, secretly.
Yeah.
And some gills.
Or Mad Max, and we all try and get petrol off each other. Yeah. I'd
like to do a post-apocalyptic film. Anyway, I could get on and on.
I think we're going on. Scott, it's been amazing having you here. We hope everyone's enjoyed. we hope everyone's enjoyed hearing your rambles and your about filmmaking.
I apologise for that. Never done anything like this before.
That you had the TV on. You had the classic TV on.
My head. Yeah.
It'll be cut. It'll be cut.
Cut that out.
We'll try and cut it. Yeah. But thanks, Scott, and thanks everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot,
guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Nice doing this.
Take care.